You've seen them at stadiums from around the world. From Tokyo to Toronto, these colorful creatures captivate crowds by cheering every sport from cricket to curling. But why do they even exist at all? What can they tell us about human nature? And what legacy have they imparted to their fursuit descendants? I'm your host, Underbite, for this episode of Fursuit History. And teasing a crowd of 50,000 baseball fans while wearing a big green Muppet is culturally apt. Mascots. You see them everywhere. You can find them on the street slinging pizza. You can find them in commercials selling cars or trying to give you a bank loan. But most iconically, you can find them in sports stadiums and arenas, from baseball to soccer, basketball, cheering on their team and getting the crowd excited with antics, or even cheering or dancing or pantomime performances. Of course, they can also be the target of an audience's frustration. Mascots range from personified sporting equipment to completely abstract critters. Let's find out where all these colorful characters come from. The term mascot comes from the French la mascotte, meaning a lucky charm. While a charm might be some bauble you wear for luck, it evolved over time to include anything that brought success in an intangible way, such as a pet or an animal icon. Ultimately, it comes from mascot, an older French term for witch or enchanter. Mascots certainly enchant audiences to this day. The first mascots were people, often pulled from the stands and invited back to future games when a team is having a hot streak, and sometimes they were animals brought in for morale. A mascot could literally be anything or anyone thought to bring luck. They just had to be present and didn't actually have to do anything. Mascots really became performative when a pitcher by the name of Max Patkin started teasing players with dramatic antics in 1944 in a game against Joe DiMaggio. After the war, Patkin would be hired by Cleveland to continue his antics, but not to play. He would only entertain the crowd, known as the Clown Prince of Baseball. But why are so many mascots furry? As we've discussed in the first episode of Fursuit History, human beings identify certain strengths with certain animals. If you want to inspire strength in your team, you may pick a bull. If you want to evoke ferocity, you might pick a bird of prey. For speed and agility, a feline may be the cat's meow for you. It's not entirely clear when these drawn logos became standard place for sports, but it would help with some costume construction decisions down the road. The first costumed mascot that we would recognize would be the San Diego Chicken in 1974. A local radio station hired a young student named Ted Giannoulis to wear the chicken suit to promote their station at local Padres games. In a twist of irony, the chicken was more popular than both the baseball team and the radio station he was hired to promote. People were coming to these baseball games just to see this chicken. Digging around, you can find a few examples of costume mascots that predate the chicken, but it seems these were far less performative and took the role of the classical token of luck, at the very least, or at the most a member of the cheerleading squad. The San Diego Chicken is the moment in costume history that the costume performer steps into their own realm. Philadelphia Phillies decided to take this idea and make it official. The Phillies hired Jim Henson Studio veteran Bonnie Erickson, creator of Miss Piggy, Statler, and Waldorf, and a number of other Muppets to create the iconic critter that represented the team and entertained their fans. The Philly Fanatic was born. It was the Fanatic's design of lime green contrasting with the Phillies red and his huge cartoonish silhouette that made him possible to be recognized and spotted from anywhere in the field, and with any performer inside of him too. As we've talked about in episode 3, anthro animals more easily bypass the uncanny valley. Mascot suits need to be instantly recognizable from the stands, so they have exaggerated, simplified features. When applied to a human, however, these results are often unsettling. Animals, though, can be made cartoonish without creeping out your audience. One step further, of course, as with the Philly Fanatic, is to not use an animal reference at all and just make a cartoony monster with googly eyes. So why have mascot suits at all? Much like a cartoon character, a mascot suit adds a layer of insulation between the performer and the character. Bugs Bunny is a separate entity in your mind from the man who voices him, and furthermore isn't a human. So while if you saw Mel Blanc, his voice actor, you might form opinions based on the clothes he wears or become jealous of his incredible mustache, but your brain doesn't automatically process cartoons or mascot suits as complete or even real people. Instead, they're an icon, a symbol that evokes expectations specific to that animal, and, if you've seen it before, specific memories as well. This uncoupling of a character from a specific person also has practical benefits. Just like you don't always notice when a new voice actor takes over the same animated character, you might not notice a new performer in the same suit. Sports teams often last for generations, so having a mascot character can tie the past to the present. If your great-grandparents got their picture taken with a sports mascot a century ago, it's entirely possible for you to snap a selfie with the same character today, albeit in a new suit, I hope. As a result of a giant foam rubber head and the occasional mascot performer change, this results in mascot characters rarely talking. Instead, they communicate exclusively in pantomime, which is especially helpful if you're watching from the cheap seats. This trait has been inherited in the fursuits of today, where performers often eschew talking in favor of comically exaggerated gesticulations, or squeaks. This also means there's sometimes a target painted on the back of a mascot for their audience or players to take out their frustrations if their cartoonish teasing goes too far. Another trait passed down from the sports mascot is continuity of character. While the skin part and rubber monster suits of stage and cinema may be repurposed for a later production, sports mascots are exclusively tied to a particular team. This helped establish in the popular imagination the idea of a cutesy animal character as some person or group's OC, original character, an idea that's central to the fursona-based fursuit. For example, the University of Oregon's duck mascot has gone from an unofficial Donald Duck ripoff to a Walt Disney sanctioned character named Ronald Duck to a completely unrelated futuristic spandex duck to a separate, if clearly Disney-inspired character. This dispute centered not around money, since the university has been authorized to use it for free since 1947, but instead around whether the mascot acted in a way that was true to Donald's character. Disney had been using large mascot-like costumes in their theme park since it first opened in 1955, 8 years later. Mascots are used for all sorts of things these days. They are a physical manifestation of the ideals of not just sports teams, but large corporations, communities, military groups, cities, individual events, and even loose concepts like safety. In Japan, there is a huge demand for mascots, even with a mascot training school and a huge mascot industry to follow. Every city, every district has a distinct character representing each one. In some ways, fursuits are mascots as well, but rather than for a place or a team, they're mascots for their own owners, their creators, and the furry fandom at large. They root for everyone, and they entertain whoever they come across. Fursuits bring out the inner performer. As much as the mask obscures our face, a fursuit can also unmask our truer selves and give us license to behave in ways we usually wouldn't. Through the popularity of sports mascots, society has absorbed the notion that a cartoonish critter can certainly have an identity of its own, and that organizations can have an original animal character, represent them, and bounce around in endearing pantomime. From there, it wasn't a giant leap for the same concept to be applied on a personal level. So the next time you see someone parading around in fursuit, you'll know they're continuing a tradition that has spread to every part of the globe, bringing people together for the sake of a good time. On the next Fursuit History, we'll be talking about the rise of cosplay and the first true fan-made fursuits. Until then, please make sure you subscribe to Culturally Effed, ring that bell for notifications, and support us on Patreon. I've been your host, Underbite. Thanks for watching.
Hi there, I'm Rusty Shackelford, and wasn't that episode great? It made us so much money. For just $1 a minute, you can be on the phone with me, Rusty Shackelford. Call the number on the screen. Subscribe over at patreon.com/culturallyeffed, and you'll receive a personalized video of me saying anything you want me to say. I might even call you. We also have a newsletter you can sign up to for more updates. We also have a merch store, So subscribe to Culturally Apt for more of the video you just watched. Thank you for being beautiful.